it's me again, and today we are discussing both the new information for the Ace family and everything that's happened with that's been coming out, along with just kind of a history of all the transgressions that have brought us here, along with some rhetoric discussions and just an overall comprehensive overview on the downfall of one of the biggest family channel empires to have ever existed on the YouTube platform. So stick around for that. Before we really get into everything, just links, sources, ways to support the channel, all that kind of stuff, all down below. Thank you to my members and patrons that are currently joined with the channel. Names on screen. I recently put out a Q&A that they post questions for me. So if you join, you get to hear that. I do get pretty into the goss as well. This is the last video I'll be putting out likely before my 25th birthday. It's not funny anymore. My 25th birthday is on Tuesday, the 24th. I was recording this, it is the 16th. So I'm crashing out, but it's fine. Anyway, 3 parts of the video today. Part 1, Rise of the Ace Family. Part 2, Alleged Scams, etc. And Part 3, Divorce and Infidelity. So let's get right into that now. So Part 1, Rise of the Ace Family. So in order to just contextualize how much of an empire has fallen, my lights just flickered, sorry. We need to really get into how it started, like, in the first place, and where Austin and Catherine are now. Just like, there's just no comparison for that, like, whatsoever. There are so many videos that discuss this rise in detail. There's like a super long Jay Aubrey video. There's tons and tons of video essays on this in particular, so I'll keep this quite brief. I've even made my own video talking about the Ace family, which was actually back in, I want to say 2021 or 2022. So there's like no views on it. And then there's also a video I made called The Rhetoric of Family Channels, which I can link down below as well. So the channel name Ace Family essentially comes from the original 3 members of the Ace family: Austin McBroom, Catherine Paez, and the daughter Elle McBroom. And they had 2 more kids while the channel was active, named Alea and Steele. The first video published to the Ace Family channel that is currently up for viewing was from July 27th, 2016. It has risen to a whopping 18.1 million subscribers. However, there has not been a single upload to the channel in over 2 years. And spoiler alert, this video goes over exactly why. The most popular video on the channel was the video where Austin proposes to Catherine, with over 40 million views, with many others going over the 20 million view mark. Naturally, with the ad-friendly content being made and the views per video, the pair were absolutely raking in the AdSense. I genuinely have no idea how much money they could have made. I remember in one of the videos I watched in researching this, someone said you get $4,000 per million views. And I want to know, I feel like this is a pretty easy number. So if they got 40 million views, would be $160,000 of AdSense. 4,000 per million, 4 times, 4, 8, 12, 16, yeah. Okay. Can you all get this video to 40 million views so I can, like, pay my student loans off and, like, live in, like, a house or something maybe? Or I don't know, like, I'm just kidding. I'm just, like, incredibly shocked at the volume of money that is. That is actually, wow. Anyway, the content that the pair were making was always kind of controversial within the commentary community due to the focus on children, filming their first experiences, making money off of people who cannot consent to being filmed, pranks, and the nature of those pranks, often Austin being quite inappropriate, whether that being overly crude or overly sexual or misogynistic in some capacities. Obviously, the pranking young children just in general, and the industry of commentary around exposing just different types of channels in general and people who mess with kids. That's kind of a universally disliked topic and could gather the attention of larger audiences. The Ace family themselves thrived off of controversy and did so consistently through their prime. While we'll go through some of that throughout this video, Austin in particular is the one who is often looped into addressing controversies, and that is kind of built into the overall brand of the Ace family. This, I believe, moved the Ace family out of the family channel niche and into kind of wider YouTube stardom. And the other thing is, too, the family did openly express the idea of traditional family values, kind of having the idea of the focus of Catherine taking care of the children, Austin being the provider, even though they all made money off of the channel, but then also the idea of Austin being the one to address controversy and do such things is the nature of being a protector or a provider. The Ace family, in particular, Austin again, would host large events such as the charity basketball event and influencer boxing. There were many other types of disasters, along with just a shift in the monetization, perception, and action on the platform that drove further controversy to the family. Austin's actions and control and desire for money and fame and infamy and the actions around it, along with Catherine's transgressions, if you will, to a certain degree as well, I believe led to the ultimate demise of this empire, with Catherine by his side until essentially everything fell apart for things to kind of switch up as of late. With that, let's see why they stopped uploading 2 years ago. Let's go through the alleged scams, the controversies, the whole nine. Part 2, the aforementioned scams, controversies, etc., etc. Now, as I have discussed, the Ace family has been controversial. Since the channel's inception, specifically Austin and Catherine making their fortunes off their children, there were several other controversies that would involve parading around their children, an inappropriate phallic-shaped lollipop incident, amongst a few other things. I'm not going to get into kind of those smaller things. There are a million videos on it. Tozie's made a ton. Like I said, the Jay Aubrey video will go over all of it. We're kind of discussing these kind of larger brand-specific transgressions that have occurred. Major controversies started happening consistently from 2018. So about a year and a half to 2 years into the channel's inception. By then, they were well over 1 million subscribers. Let's start with the unearthing of racist tweets from Austin McBroom, originally exposed by YouTuber Choice TV in 2018. The tweets were essentially just Austin talking shit about black women, stating that they were too high maintenance and would be switching to blonde women with blue eyes. The thread also included posts of old videos of Austin being fat phobic, things like "you're not fat, you're not thick, you're just fat," things along that line, and just other things that are incredibly misogynistic coming from a man who has the least amount of humility I've ever seen in a human being in my entire life, so this really does not surprise me. You're out here, 2 hairlines, and you're doing that mess? Anyway. Austin addresses this in a video from March 14th, 2018, which before he gets into actually addressing these tweets and such things directly, he literally says, "commercial break for some bullshit." So we already know that this is going to be the most genuine, direct, meaningful, and positive apology that has ever been put on the YouTube platform. So Austin begins by stating that him and Catherine have never addressed anything negative before. This is the aspect of how dare we have to set foot or set into the area of these people who are so beneath us. I get into a more kind of constructive idea of what this means and the implications around it later in the video. Austin brings his mother, who is a black woman. So Austin, as you can probably tell, is mixed race, and or biracial rather. He and his mom's a black woman, so this is like somebody that he thought would be good to make a mockery of the controversy to avoid it, as opposed to being able to actually face the things that have come forward. He then proceeds to be super manipulative with his mother, posing the statement, "people have been saying your son is racist," pushing the blame onto her with the use of "people are saying your son," right? Then ownership of his actions towards her, which was really crazy, especially when he's literally talking shit about the marginalized group that she is a part of, that he is not. And just kind of blaming, almost placing the blame on his mom to derail. He brings up the tweets in 2011 and tries to use his mom as like a figurehead of this obscurity. Obviously, I'll put the clip in now.
And my family. Well, mainly about me. They said that your son is racist.
Oh, wow.
Towards black people. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did they come up with that?
So that's a good question. So they came up with that because, I have to get my phone really quick. Because in 2011, about...
They go way back, okay.
Yeah, way back. About 15,000 tweets ago, back when I first created Twitter, 2011, how old was I? That was like 7 years ago?
Yeah.
I was in my teens.
Okay, yeah.
That was back when...
Get to what they said.
That was no. That was back when I got arrested.
Oh, damn.
I was I was a dumbass.
Let's not relive that.
So they went back in my old tweets, right? Someone spent hours, days, went back and found a tweet that I made in 2011. And that tweet says, can't do black girls because after I'm done, I'm gonna have to pay for their hair. Listen.
Oh God.
Listen, hashtag all bad. Wait, was it? Now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Choice TV responds to the video, just kind of talk about the repeated behavior of Austin and just how he tends to address things like this, along with consistencies to the behaviors relayed in the tweets. Then there was also a BuzzFeed article that unearthed further tweets that made Austin look like a fool. But now we can move into the infamous 2018 charity basketball event. Now, if any of you are new to discussing the Ace family, this is typically the thing that is talked about the most when we're talking about these people, because it is like a huge event. And I guess in the current political climate of the internet, as in the current YouTube climate for the commentary channels, charity events are a big thing on people's minds right now. Okay, so to make a very long story short in regards to the basketball event, again, whole videos made on this extensively. The event was set for June 30th, 2018. The official announcement for the event came on March 15th with more or less the following rules. Winner picks the charity, $1,000 total goes to charity.
We will be playing up to 21 ones and twos. Just know this event will be very well organized and there will be refs. There's no calling your own foul in this. Location-wise, it has to be in the LA area. Obviously, this is where I live and I'm the one putting it together. Not only is this going to be for fun and games, but we're also going to be playing for $50,000. But listen. So you want to explain to them why 50,000?
Well, I know why, because like Austin doesn't want just anyone to try to compete against him. Like he wants someone who's actually serious about the game and who really feels like they can beat him. And I think that once you put something like that in the equation, it kind of makes it more like, I don't know, gets more attention drawn to it and more people want to join and watch and stuff.
After the event, Choice TV uploads a video about it because some people were noticing that when the picture was posted with the comically large check that people often use when they donate to charity, that there was 5 digits on it, not 6. It started with a 7, not a 1. So what happened was, this is what they claimed. The Ace family was claiming that there were costs involved with running the event so that the entire $100,000 was not able to be donated. And what happened was people began to unpack that, well, the amount of tickets that you sold, the amount of people that were at the arena, the amount of concessions that were sold, the live streaming revenue, along with the merch revenue, would have far surpassed $100,000. So where did the money go?
And at this point, a lot of people were looking at them like, okay, now this doesn't make any sense. How are you giving $100,000, but the check only says $75,000? Now let's talk about the fact that they made triple, matter of fact, quadruple off this event, but only gave $75K to charity. Now, I'm not knocking them for donating to charity. Good for you. Donate to charity, give your coins. That's fine. But the point of giving to charity is not getting something in return. Giving to charity is basically out of the kindness of your heart. He claims that this whole event was for charity and was to basically benefit them and to help whatever event. And it was kind of fishy to me how they didn't even know what charity they were donating to. They were just playing basketball. And then after the basketball tournament, they were going to get $100K and they were going to give it all to charity. Let's do the math here. According to the Ace family, the tickets cost $45 each.
You all will be able to purchase the Ace family's charity basketball event
Finally!
this Saturday at midnight.
Some of you guys have been asking us how much are the tickets, and we wanted to make it affordable across the board for everyone. So the tickets are going to be $45.
So if the tickets cost $45 each, and they sold over 10,200 tickets, because that's the capacity of the entire event. If they sold over 10,000 tickets to fans, wouldn't that mean that they made over $450,000 off ticket sales? Wouldn't that mean they made over $400,000 off ticket sales? Then let's talk about the fact that they live streamed the event. And the event that they live streamed has ads running through it. So they made, let's say per million views, each million views is worth $4,000. Per 1 million views you get, that's an average of $4,000, depending on your CPM and the watch time and shit. You can get up to $4,000 per 1 million views. So if the live stream is currently at 8 million views and there's ads running through it, that would mean they probably made over $32,000 off that live stream alone. Then let's talk about the fact that they were selling merch at the event. In case you didn't know, they were also selling jerseys. The jerseys damn near cost damn near $64, damn near more than what everybody makes in a fucking hour. And I'm over here like...
So there were many videos on this kind of controversy. Ace Family did not really respond to these types of things. Kind of angled it more towards like, well, why would you shit on a charity event? You don't like charity, which again does not really surprise anybody. And then kind of like, as the controversy for the charity basketball event seemed to be more or less at its peak, suddenly Austin McBroom tweets out in August of 2018 that his house had been broken in. Austin was also posing with his daughter Elle and his wife Catherine in a thumbnail for a vlog that came out the next day. And Austin was on Snapchat with his daughter Elle walking the streets by his house, showing a bunch of police cars and the shrapnel and everything, like, not shrapnel, but like broken glass and things like that in the home from the break-in. When the vlog was posted, which I just mentioned the thumbnail about, it definitely sparked a ton of speculation from the watchers. This kind of came around because why would there be no security or camera footage? I remember YouTuber Atozi directly points out that there's like a security sensor you can see behind Austin in one of the clips, which would have been activated and they would not have found out about the break-in from the broken glass or the sounds, rather the CCTV footage or the sensors going off. There was also the fact that the police in the video were willing to give a statement on camera, which is very, very uncommon in these particular circumstances. And that they were totally down to have them upload what appeared to be evidence, what appeared to be sensitive information, with a 48-hour turnaround, more or less, onto their YouTube channel. With the YouTube channel with millions of subscribers. Another main concern, because obviously a break-in poses security concern, especially when there's small children involved, was around the idea of the priority of Austin and Catherine's focus to turn around a vlog, as opposed to taking the time to make sure the children are safe and relocate to a different place and kind of gather all of, the stones that you need to line up. And I remember that in their response to people being speculation around said break-in, they talked about the posing for the thumbnail, and Catherine said, "We are YouTubers. That's things that we just kind of think to do."
Like, why are you outside filming cop cars? Your house has been robbed. I already have my doubts within 2 minutes of the video. Okay, I'm gonna freeze this frame right here. If you were a robber, would you A, break the glass around the door handle to then unlock the door and pull it open? Or would you B, smash a larger hole at the bottom of the door for a larger mess and better YouTube thumbnail? Then I mean, lay down on your hands and knees, then crawl through that small ass hole, somehow without leaving any prints of your hands nor knees nor even stepping on this glass, to crawl through this little hole, to then somehow stand up, open the door, and let your friend in. If you answered B, I think you might have robbed the Ace family, because no one does that.
The concern, though, that y'all are obviously clearly negating and just choosing not to focus on, is that you should not be thinking of being a YouTuber in this circumstance. You should be thinking only about being a parent and a protector and a guardian in this particular circumstance. And then there were people that were trying to pull up invoices. They were actors that Austin hired actors to play for the police, but then there were counterclaims that said invoices were fake, so that information, give or take, was not necessarily the best. Later, Drama Alert / Killer Keemstar, let's get right into the news. I just want to do that at any possible opportunity. It's just because, like, do it at home, kids. It's just so fun to it's just so fun to do the build up for it. Anyway, Keemstar posted a police report. But then, because nobody wants to believe the Ace family at all, if possible, which is really iconic, they traced the handwriting back to Catherine's brother, and it was very, very similar to that of Catherine's brother. But the thing is, obviously, that can be debated as well. There were also kind of some, when looking at the police report, there seemed to have been some missing relevant sections. There was also strange looking lines on the report. And then when people were looking into the thumbnail and the way the glass was broken, people were confused as to why the glass was broken on the bottom of the door, where you would have had to crawl on your hands and knees through broken glass to get out, but then you wouldn't be able to to break in the first place. So that's kind of the general controversy around the break-in. Now we get into the Ace Family app, which really puts the cherry on top for the next wave of... Now, this is like alleged in Minecraft or whatever, but they're also like not active anymore, so I could sort of say this, I feel like. But like this really ties in the like, we really don't care about taking advantage of people's money era, where they launched this app. I also want to mention 90%, obviously I don't know their analytics, but a large majority of their audience that was like active and not just like maybe like lurking to be inappropriate with the videos they're watching with children or something, maybe allegedly, or people that were just kind of weird. But the people who were kind of outwardly supporting the Ace Family typically were very young, like middle school, teenage at most. That being said, obviously then these people are minors, right? Now, on September 23rd, 2018, the Ace Family launches the Ace Family app, which is a free app that comes with a subscription side that had promised the idea of exclusive content that would be available to the fans. This was brought up in the My Water Broke on My Husband video, must watch reaction, whatever. Catherine says that the app will have exclusive content made by each of the Ace Family members, Catherine, Austin, and Elle, who was 2 years old at this time, may I add, with the L section being specifically for videos related to people that are of younger audiences, which I don't even understand how that would work. Apparently there wasn't a live stream with L that was put onto the app, which is very strange, and I'm not really sure how that would have worked. By October 5th of 2018, they announced that the content is ready and that they were filming content for L that day in a vlog released. They also promised the in-app prizes, giveaways, coming up with just different types of subscriptions and things along that line. And they stated that we know who people who are downloading the app and joining the subscription are our real dedicated supporters, and we want to have the giveaways provided for them because it is hard to do this in a large audience.
So tomorrow we are filming Elle's first app video. You excited?
Excited.
So Catherine and I had a long discussion, and we've been talking about this for
a year now?
Yeah, a year now. So instead of Elle and Catherine creating their own YouTube channel, those videos that they would have put on their YouTube channel, they're gonna be putting on our app. So tomorrow we're filming her first video, and we'll be posting it hopefully on Saturday. So make sure you stay tuned for Saturday.
For those who have already downloaded the app, if you guys weren't able to put like a push notification on the app for whatever reason,
very important.
We're gonna show you exactly how you do that right now.
So now that you guys have seen how to do that, it is very important to not only download the Ace Family app, but to also turn on your push notifications so you guys can get an alert on all of our updates.
For those who are wondering like what exactly we're gonna have on the app, so there's gonna be like a lot of different things. We've been working on this for a really long time now. And the second version is coming out on Saturday, which is crazy.
So the second version of the app will be released on Saturday, which Elle's first video will also be up as soon as it comes out.
And then as far as our corners, so as far as like what we're gonna put on our sections of the app, we're gonna do that later on. We're gonna start off with L's, and then we also have like really cool things about our app. So we have like wallpapers and playlist, and we're gonna do giveaways. And then I also came up with this really cool section that I really wanna do. It's gonna be part of like the giveaway section, and basically what it is like for every student that watches us, whether you're in high school, college, middle school, whatever it is, if you get A's on your report card, so if you get like all A's, you'll do like a submission within the app, and then you guys can like receive prizes and stuff, which is really cool. So
free
it's
merch.
Like, so it's like Aces, like the whole like Aces theme is behind that. So I thought that was really cool.
Which is an interesting way of posing, we want you to gamble because you're not allowed to have a giveaway that is not accessible with a free option. And only having it behind a subscription paywall is by definition not allowing that to happen. Now, the laws may be different depending on the state or the country that you're in, but to my understanding, that doesn't fly really anywhere. According to Spill, which gives like a weird AI, or not, it wasn't AI at the time, but remember, there's a lot of controversy around how that channel was formed and what was going on there, if it was like a team or something like that, if it was made to just be a successful YouTube content mill. But this is where the content lies at this time, so take that with a grain of salt. The Ace family updated the app on October 6th as promised with the new content that they discussed in the vlog, and that there was a $2.99 paywall or $30 per year. Within 2 months, so by January of 2019, users were complaining that there were no updates on the content.
With some free features like wallpapers, quotes, and access to a merch store. However, there's also a paid section of the app with members-only videos. Subscribers can pay either $2.99 per month or $30 per year. The relaunch version went live on October 6th with a live stream and a video featuring Elle. But according to subscribers, there hasn't been updated content since November. Just got charged for the Ace Family app. When will there be content? This really sucks. I just canceled my Ace Family membership. I defended the Ace Family since day one. I've been there since their first video was uploaded, but wow, they've really gone downhill as individuals. I used to love everything they did, but now they are crossing too many lines. I've been wondering why you guys are still charging people that have the membership on the app. You guys haven't posted since November 30th, 2018. I'm not trying to sound rude. Love you, Ace Family. Is anything new going to happen on the Ace Family app? I've been paying monthly for my subscription, but nothing has happened in a while. Was just wondering if anything new was coming soon. And other fans have been asking Austin and Catherine when there would be a restock on the app. When are you guys restocking the Ace Family app merch? And when are you guys going to make the animated Ace Family phone case for the 6S? Also, I just got a membership. Better now than never, and I don't regret it. Love you guys. I was just on the Ace Family app and everything is sold. When will there be a restock?
Shortly after this, United Through Music also comes out stating that Austin has stolen his bandana designs, and a videographer that they worked with named Fred the Director exposes them for poor pay and being flaky, apparently only paying him $150, which is very interesting because Austin tries to combat this by showing all the payments he gave him, and the only one he's able to pull up is $150 on Cash App. Then we get to something that I remember when I thought about doing this sort of downfall of the Ace Family video, which was very silly in the grand scheme of things, but some may know this as the jet ski incident. So what happened was Austin got a jet ski, and they had a house in the hills. Maybe it was like Calabasas or something, I can't remember, but it was literally just built on the side of a hill. Okay, it was all you need to know. Now, also, we need to remember that like California is a desert with no water, and this is what they're using the water for. But anyway, they have what's called an infinity pool. So what an infinity pool is normally is that it's like entirely glass, and then it goes around the edge of something, and it doesn't have like a big wall like a typical in-ground pool would have, for example. The idea is that you're just sort of sitting on the edge or within a certain shape. So when you have no wall around your pool, right? Also, you're not supposed to put a jet ski on a pool. So what he did was he put the jet ski on the infinity pool and was doing I'll put the video footage over while I'm talking, obviously, was doing little loop-de-loops in his jet ski, and it was shooting a shit ton of water over the side of the mountain. Somebody underneath him had essentially it was like an orchard. And think about it this way, right? In order to be in a pool, the water's not going to be fresh, right? The water's going to have chlorine, it's going to have chemicals in it, etc. And what the nephew of this house owner below Austin and Catherine's house was alleging was that the water was ruining the orchard underneath, and a video was posted to social media of the water falling over the edge. Austin and Catherine responded to this by tweeting or replying to tweets saying that the backlash was just people being jealous and just passive-aggressive tweeting of smiley face emojis and things of the like. Essentially, also when they were tweeting like these responses, they said that there was like a wall that was built and only once did the water go over. And the guy said, like, as in the nephew of the homeowner, said that, well, no, this video I took was the third time it happened after the wall was already built, and just showing that the wall didn't really do shit anything and that I don't like you. Yeah, like, that makes sense. I don't really know. Like, so many of these are just like, they are just doing something horrible, and then people are like, you suck. And they're like, actually, you guys suck. So, and we're rich. So next, unfortunately, calls for a way more serious situation that Catherine actually sort of confirms in her very recent interview with the Call Her Daddy podcast. On October 14th, 2019, beauty YouTuber Cole Kerrigan uploads a video called The Truth About the Ace Family. I want to state that there were legal responses to this, and the video in question was deleted. But Cole has recently come out doubling down on what he has said, and there seemed to have been no legal recourse, but I'm saying that this is alleged, and I'm presenting this as it is relevant to the timeline when we're talking about a depreciation of somebody's influence and reputation. On June 22nd, so this is what Cole's timeline was as he was discussing it. Cole's friend calls him hysterically crying, saying that she was in Miami with Austin McBroom and his team along with a couple of her friends, and that something had happened to her. Cole then tweets about this immediately. Soon after discussing the tweet, Cole shows a screenshot of his friend getting a text saying, "I think it's in your best interest if you told Cole to stop. If he proceeds, you're both looking at some serious consequences. I'm actually a friend of yours, just trying to help you. Be smart, girl." And then Cole discusses how Keemstar had reached out to Cole and the friend, talking to her as well. Cole claims that they stopped hearing from Keemstar after this, and Cole shows a text that Keemstar had sent him saying that Keemstar was paid $500,000 in order to not expose the Ace family in his video. Cole then continues the story saying that other friends were invited to this yacht that Cole's friend was on. And after drinking and going back to a hotel to shower and change, Austin, his father, and 3 other men allegedly went into the room of this girl and her friend and assaulted them and even showed images of blood on the sheets. The day after Cole's video came out, Austin tweets a statement from the friend, so from the second girl in the room with them, that said Austin was not responsible for this, and shows texts of Cole claiming that he wanted money off of it. The issue with this is when you look at the screenshots and you actually read, there seems to be something that the girl's alluding to happening, just saying it wasn't specifically Austin, which is very, very... Then Keemstar jumps in, making a Twitter video saying that he reached out to Cole because he thinks that Austin does cheat on Catherine all the time. And then Keemstar heard that people were saying it was Cole cheating with Austin, so he also was cheating on Catherine with a man. And then one of Cole's friends or something texts Keemstar, which Keemstar doesn't even know how he got his number, and that was bringing up the allegations of Cole being the one that cheats with Austin, which in turn made Keemstar think that Cole is a really dishonest person, and that is not something that he wanted to pursue in his Drama Alert video.
Now here's the thing, I personally think that Austin cheats on his wife. And the reason why I personally think that is because so many YouTubers that I've talked to have told me that. They told me he has his own separate house that he takes girls to, hooks up with, and makes them sign contracts not to say anything. Which is none of my business, but all I'm saying is so many other girls have come out, said something, and then their accounts get disappear or whatever. And you guys have been begging me to make a video on it. So we finally tracked down one of these alleged girls and they were coming on for an interview because none of them ever talk. And of course, the day to do the interview, she disappears. But then I remember Cole Carrigan posted on Twitter that Austin from the Ace family and his dad had a threesome with this girl that was a friend of his. So I reached out to Cole, I asked him for his number. I got him on the phone and I was like, yo bro, I'm trying to get more information on this. Can I interview your friend? And he's like, I'll get back to you. Now, as soon as I get off the phone with Cole, I start getting random text messages from this random number who claims to have proof that Cole Carrington and Austin from the Ace family had an affair together, and they're sending me screenshots with the number blocked out. So I'm starting to not believe Cole at all, and I'm thinking that he is having a friend text me to make up this whole story for clout.
After this, Austin tweets that he is seeking legal recourse for extortion because of the things that Cole says. Cole tweets that no such thing is happening, and then talks about how his initial intentions were bad, but they changed as he heard more about the story and how serious things were, and then posts more screenshots for context. Catherine, again, as I mentioned, sort of admits to this in the recent interview, and I'll get into the interview separately. And Cole recently responded on TikTok, doubling down to what happened in 2019. I'll play the TikTok when I talk about the interview. Fast forward now to July of 2020. Catherine and Austin launched the Ace Club. Super similar to the app, same sort of giveaway idea, same sort of promises of all these fan interactions, the same exact line talking about that our true supporters would want to take this thing on. They talk about how what would happen down the line is that you would get an exclusive card if you were joined on the app more than 6 months that let you get into Ace family events for free.
So what we did was we created our own world to where our real supporters have a better chance of receiving more and seeing us more.
So in this world of ours, the Ace Club, you guys are going to be receiving raw, uncut, uncensored, exclusive content.
We're also going to be doing major giveaways every month, whether it's giving away $10,000, buying someone a car, buying someone a house,
That's my favorite one.
paying someone's bills, paying for someone's education, literally so much more.
And then we're also going to be doing live streams within that world. There's also going to be FaceTime calls all the time.
And we're also doing a day with us. So we're going to be picking some people to spend a day with us, whether it's going to Disneyland, going to the movies, going to dinner, literally anywhere.
So literally just catering to you guys and just doing so much just for you guys, because I feel like over the past couple of years it's been hard to kind of do that on our channel on an open platform where so many people can just join and come in. And so this is our world.
Except Sloan reports that there were a ton of tech issues. People reporting that the website was vanishing out of nowhere. I tried to join the website and I just got this is a super unsecure link and hackers might try to steal your credit card. So I did not really look into it further. And also no word of the Ace Family app that people were already paying for though, which they end up not saying anything about from July to September. Then in September they come back and they go, hey, remember the Ace Club thing? Like, we never updated, we never added any more content to, didn't really work, we didn't uphold any of the promises, no giveaways happened, anything. Well, we edited it now to like make it work, like we put an appropriate size server on it and things like that. So now you all need to make new accounts where you completely lose like the momentum that you had gotten from the months that you had already joined. And now you can join, and we'll make it just 99 cents for this month to really make it up to y'all. Still to pay, though. And from that point, they never updated it again. People got scammed again. No word of it. Website doesn't exist anymore, to my understanding. Next and last for this section comes just something very silly, no pun intended. There was also the Ace Fest. That was sort of just, it was actually kind of successful. One of my very, very few fond memories of the H3 podcast was actually when they went to, like, because they sent the crew to, now I'm thinking about who was at Ace Fest. I think only Dan still works there. Because I think it was Dan, Sam, Ian, Olivia might have gone. So Olivia still works there. But it was like Dan, Sam, Ian, Cam, Olivia, I think. I could be wrong, though. And I'm not going to go look it up because, like, I don't like them. So, regardless, they went to the Ace Fest, and it was just sort of like a kiddie kind of carnival-y type thing. But it was not like, it was just kind of less grandiose than they said. But, like, that compared to when you just get nothing, or you get a disaster, or you get a cover-up, or you get a guilt trip, it was a very small blip in, like, the grand scheme of things. So they had this thing that they were selling called Silly Juice, which was this sort of fruit cocktail juice drink they were kind of trying to market as a health product to sell to kids. And it just kind of looked like the little baby Gatorade Zeros you can get at the dollar store. And Icon and friend of the channel, Zachary Michael, actually tried the juice in a video. So I'll put that little clip in a second. But 10 fluid ounces, let's do the macros. 10 fluid ounces, 150 calories, 37 grams of sugar, and 20% juice. So that was obviously there's comes with the initial, like, Ace Family trying to scam again kind of thing, where it's like that's not what it seems to be advertising, as it's trying to present itself as juice.
That was like the debate on the others, is that they weren't sealed correctly, and that TikTok. But let's just try. Let's just do a quick mold check. Now I did chill these, so you can see a little bit of the condensation. I chilled it just a little bit because I don't like warm. Who wants a warm juice? All right, so let's try it. Okay, that's enough for that. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I will say that. Like, I think kids would drink this and be like, cool, now I'm all hopped up on sugar. What are we gonna do next, Mom? Oh, I'm spilling. Oh, I didn't even bring a napkin in here. What am I gonna do? Okay, got that cleaned up. That was the pink strawberry swirl. Forget what I was saying, but mostly just that, like, I don't think it's anything special. Actually, feels like a slightly more flavorful Kool-Aid. Like it tastes like a little bit stronger Kool-Aid.
But then also people were getting the bottles, which getting mold growing on the outside of a plastic bottle is like kind of impressive because it's a non-organic substance. And also when your cocktail's mostly not juice, again, kind of shocking, but people were reporting that they were getting moldy juice. And then out of nowhere, bloop, no more silly juice. Again, just bloop, no silly juice. Like it's like Tana shows like before getting sober era, I guess, or whatever. It was just like scam after scam after scam, and then just bloop, nothing. Which is like, okay. Now I want to kind of just do a very brief like analysis on the way that they would talk about things. And now that we understand kind of just in general why they have no credibility, I want to focus on the use of like the rhetorical device of othering, which is a quite evil and very widely used rhetorical device, but typically the context when discussed around othering is on like these very grand scales. But I want to talk about it in this particular instance to just kind of put in our minds like the idea of like how things kind of go on scales, right? And how these sorts of tactics and these sorts of approaches are used on macro and micro levels, to kind of put it simply, right? So the use or device of othering is creating the us versus them, right? The use of leverage, typically often in like a large scale marginalization, but in some contexts used to manipulate people on individual bases. I'll read a quote from the Call for Papers, the Rhetoric of Otherness, which reads, while artistic representations such, and I'll put the text over me. While artistic representations such as literature, painting, and performance can subvert the construction of power dynamics between sameness and otherness, the discourse of mainstream sources such as journalistic media and government communications often reinforce and polarize such division. So when we're talking about in this context, instead of thinking something nice, maybe, such as like literature, painting, performance, they are the performance via the social media platform. This is where we're extending that context, right? Yet digital and social media and internet visual tools, e.g. memes and GIFs, involve a dynamic interactionist real-time dialogue that delineates the reproduction of sameness and otherness by oscillating between criticism and conformism. Therefore, artistic, mainstream, and digital expressions and discourses are on a continuum of the articulation/disarticulation, construction/ deconstruction of otherness, seen as the result of a combination of multimodal rhetorical and discursive strategies, perpetuating old forms and creating new forms of otherness throughout society. So to put that in, and I don't like using the term layman's terms because that makes it sound like the people that you're trying to discuss this with are like less intelligent than the people who write it. But to put it into terms that normal people who don't dig into these papers all the time could understand, what they're seeing with the sameness and otherness is that literature and performance in the classical sense and the things that you're more familiar with, government media, things along that line, directly demonstrate to you who the same and the other are. While people in this sort of social media space will constantly try to make themselves relatable to you and go onto your level to make you into the sameness, even though you're not the same as them at all. And when we're talking about the Ace family, they really utilize the idea surrounding family far outside of the context of the 3/ ending up being 5 of them down the lifeline of the channel. Catherine Austin presents this extremely polished life, presenting it as raw, and make a point to say that their supporters are akin to them. And remember how young the audience is, right? The leveraging of giveaways, of items they use. One of the giveaways they talk about for the Ace Club, I think, is the Ace family Jeep that they had specifically. And this idea of people who love us and support us and are willing to financially support us or are willing to unapologetically support us or unconditionally support us are the people that we love. Here are the exact guidelines that we are giving you on how we are to be supportive in order for you to be the same and not the other, right? In order to be in the in group and not the other. And the reason why they want to make that other group so pronounced is because that's who they want to disregard when criticism comes forward of them. So recall the way that they respond to criticism, as if acknowledging wrong on their own and acknowledging that they've done something wrong is a grievance that they have to take on, and in turn sort of succumbing to the level of this other group, as in these jealous, poor, people with nothing to do in their life, etc., even though they are breaking laws, allegedly, I guess. They are covering up things as simple as moldy juice, or as simple as a $2.99 app that doesn't work, and to a certain degree as diabolical as adultery, as assault, as large-scale charity fraud, if the things that people were collecting and figuring out about them were true. Now, obviously, we've never heard about any court hearings or any sort of legal trouble, so we can't make any guarantees about that. But the key is to make sure that the criticism group are othered and that those people are jealous of them, have no lives, and are hateful. And just remember how long we've been able to discuss things that negatively affected their reputation, and how being in the Ace family seems like the more difficult conclusion to come to. And think about that when these social media figures respond to the ways that they are criticized, and how, typically when it's everyone but you, and when everybody can point to kind of the same thing, it might be. But this gets us to part 3. Part 3, the divorce and infidelity. Last spike in the back of the Ace family. In 2024, Catherine Paez and Austin McBroom publicly announced via Instagram that their divorce is imminent and that it's happening after almost a year of not uploading anything on the Ace family channel. When they were separating, there was a brief weird stint that I remember of Austin McBroom uploading to Snapchat of him living in an RV in their yard or something. Other than that, they've not really spoken publicly about the separation much until the last month or so, because on May 11th, 2025, Catherine announces that she has a new book that will be coming out that is a biography of herself, autobiography, called Dolores, My Journey Home. First 3 chapters were released to the public, but then were taken down, presumably probably because of backlash. In one of the pages, Catherine reveals that one of the women who Austin cheated with was actually present at the infamous charity basketball game. And people figured that it might have been Monica Bush, because she also posted in 2021 about Austin cheating on his wife with her. And that did not really break the surface of the internet too much, because there gets to a certain point when you ignore everything, and this is sort of a paradox that exists online. But if it just keeps happening over and over and over again, people stop believing it, or the people who don't want to believe it can just choose not to. Because, for example, even I remember, there were stories about, I remember there was a girl who made a video about, Jake Paul, sexually her. And, we never hear about that anymore. And, Tana Mojo had her little, marrying Jake Paul arc right after that, and nobody said anything. Nobody got mad at Tana. Nothing, right? So that's an example of, so many people have criticisms of these people that it almost becomes, an ocean, and then you get lost in. Once the book pages come out, May 12th marks the day of Austin McBroom's Snapchat story crash out about Catherine, which is 30 minutes long. I'm going to just say each of the topics discussed, because nothing Austin ever really says about anything is true to me. So you can, obviously it's linked in the doc and you can look at it if you want. But he says that the relationship between him and Catherine has been better now than when they were actually married. Claims Catherine's book is a setup to clout chase off of their divorce.
Of her book that she wrote alongside a professional author that helped her write this book. And the book was manipulated, and she did not tell the full truth, which is why I'm here today to tell you guys the full truth and to tell you guys what really happened. I don't know about you guys, but I find it very odd that the first chapter of her book is about me and not about anything about her. It's about me and how I was a terrible person and a terrible husband, when this book is supposed to be an autobiography about her life. It could have been about anything else. She talks about her family in the book. She talks about ayahuasca. She talks about her new guy. But she wanted to use me in this snippet to reel everybody in for clickbait and to monetize from the book.
As if you having like a smoking hot wife and a bunch of money wasn't like the main thing that propelled the channel. Shows a clip of a video that he made that he was going to put on the Ace Family channel to announce the divorce, and then plays a recording of Catherine saying that it is essentially social suicide, which Catherine later says she perceived it like that because he didn't come off as honest. Catherine and Austin stopped having sex for years, and Austin claims that Catherine said, "Do what you need to do," which he took as being allowed to cheat.
But when it comes to her acting like she had no idea what was going on, that is a complete lie. Catherine knew what I was dealing with for a very long time. I would come to her and I would voice how I feel about how I felt like I was getting no affection from her. There was a year period where we had no sex, and I would vent to her telling her what I needed. And her exact words verbatim on my kids, she said, "Just don't make me look dumb. Don't embarrass me." I don't know what that means to you guys, but to me it sounds like, go do whatever you need to do because I'm not capable of giving you what you need. So Catherine tells you guys that back in 2018, 2019, I basically ruined her life because I stepped out of our marriage and she had no idea, when that is not true at all. She knew exactly what I was doing and when I was doing it.
Catherine started doing ayahuasca. Austin says that at this point she's essentially addicted to it and is doing it in front of children. Says that she has delusions like thinking she's the Mother Mary and that she's a mermaid, which in turn kind of is his way of sort of lining himself up as like the good parent. Same thing as he says he doesn't expose certain things because he doesn't want to mess up his relationship between his mother and his kids. Catherine responds on Snapchat, more or less talking about her connection to Jesus and Mary and spirituality, and just clears up some small claims. A lot of the exact same talking points that Catherine makes on Snapchat come up in her Call Her Daddy interview, so I'll just talk about it there. Monica Bush then comes out after Catherine goes on Snapchat, making another TikTok saying she was not the person at the charity event, and just kind of very quickly skims over the story between her and Austin. Essentially, Austin said to Monica that him and Catherine were essentially separated by this point, and that they just were together for the kids and the content. And it started with reaching out for like brand interactions under a false premise, and then he tried to build a relationship with her, and the two were only involved for about 2 weeks. On May 25th, 2025, Catherine McBroom goes on Call Her Daddy. Now, for some reason, the video version is not available in my region, so I have to use the Spotify audio for the clips. I apologize in advance. Catherine talks about just how she's using writing to heal her experiences with Austin, goes over the story of meeting Austin, but as they made content and got famous, the relationship declined, and Catherine only found out about the cheating far later down the line. Austin made financial decisions. Again, if we're talking about like the sort of gender role idea that they had in the family, like the provider, the supporter, they really, Catherine talks about that a lot in this interview as well. And that Catherine thought they were paying the mortgage for months because I forgot to mention earlier, their house got foreclosed on. So the same house with the infinity pool and the jet ski ended up getting foreclosed and they filed for bankruptcy. And then the last place that they had when they were making Ace Family videos was a rental that they no longer, either of them have anymore, to my understanding.
That's what I was wondering, because I know you write a lot about the home foreclosure that you guys went through, which was so public and so many people were talking about it of like, are they broke? What's happening? And you put a lot of the detail beautifully in the book. But like overall, when you look back at that moment in your life, what did losing that house represent to you?
So leading up to that moment, I felt like there was a lot of things that I was losing control over, right? My family, my relationship, our career, everything, right? There was a lot of narratives and things that were being said. And I was really strong. And I was like, I'm going to be strong. And, I'm going to keep fighting. And we have our home, we have our home. Our kids are happy. They're healthy. We're healthy. Everything's fine. And so one day I wake up and I get a phone call. And it's my father-in-law. He said, Catherine, the house is under foreclosures all over the news. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He goes, well, your loan ended and it's a jumbo loan. No one's going to accept you. You don't have the certificate of occupancy. But I'm like, but I've been paying the mortgage every month for 3 years. Everything. What do I need to do? What do I need to pay? I'll save it. What do we need? There's nothing you can do. It's under foreclosure. It's gone. You have 30 days to move out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was heartbreaking.
Kathy confirmed that Austin cheated with at least 3 women, but thinks that it was likely more than 20, which is what a lot of other people were saying. Says the rumor about a cheating nanny was untrue because they didn't have... I broke my stress ball. Okie dokie. Never mind with that. Tana did not lie about when she came out a few years ago about Austin cheating. Her and Jake Paul were like Austin McBroom's biggest ops, but then again, moral arbiters of the world, like, let's be so real. Then she says the yacht orgy was true. She says a blonde beauty guru made a video about Austin cheating with girls on a boat, and that was true.
I remember that business trip like it was yesterday, that business trip. Mm-hmm. He called me quite a few times where I felt like, you're calling me a little too much. Like, I was just like, I don't know, like, it's okay, go have fun, you know? And he pocket dialed me accidentally. And I heard women in the back. There was a couple women, and I thought, okay, well, I guess my husband's hanging out with women. Yeah. I'm thinking, whatever, hung up the phone, continued my day. A couple of months go by, and this blonde male makeup artist makes this video on YouTube talking about my husband and how he was in Miami, and there was this group of people, and there was all these girls, and there was this boat, and all these, and to be honest with you, till this day, I never watched the video. But I have gotten that like information from some good friends who watched it for me and were able to like process it for me and help me process it. And I was pregnant in that moment. And I had to listen to that. And nobody knew I was pregnant. I was having my son. And I remember bawling and thinking, is this true? And even if it's not true, why are people saying this? This is like so detailed and like, and I believed, you know, I didn't believe the horrors, but it was like, am I just being stupid right now? Like, am I just really not sitting with this? Mm-hmm. Or do I vindicate him? Do I vindicate our family? And that's what I did. And I think back at my old self, and I think, poor girl, like, I wish I could hug her today. Like, she was just going through so much. And she, the old version of myself just wanted to protect that little piece we had in the family, you know?
However, using the term orgy in this context and the way that she was bringing it forward manufactures consent, which Cole Kerrigan had a huge problem with, and he made the following TikTok, which I'll either clip or I'll play the whole thing because I can't remember off the top of my head how long it is, but it goes over, again, briefly, kind of what he had discussed.
Hey, it's me, the blonde makeup artist, who has a name, by the way, that's Cole Kerrigan. He said no free clout over here. Now that I woke up to hundreds of tags and a bunch of clips of Catherine, I guess, finally admitting to it all being true and that I never actually lied in the first place about what happened in Miami during the yacht incident. I'm seeing so many comments of people having absolutely no clue what the yacht incident is. And quickly, before I get into what I'm about to say, I have no idea what postpartum depression could feel like, or even imagining the thought of your husband cheating or doing even worse, graping 2 of my friends with his father while you're pregnant with his child and already have like 2 kids with him. I also don't want to hear shit about anyone saying, oh, stay in your lane, mind your own business, this is her story to tell, which is absolutely true. But I do have a part in it because Catherine even says in her own words when she's talking about that story that was the first time, the first real indicator that Austin could have possibly been cheating or even worse. So really, you're welcome for that. I'm really happy for her and grateful that she escaped that psychopath, but it's really hard for me to find sympathy for her when she handled that whole situation, saw the hard proof evidence, made a public statement with Austin, calling me a pathological liar, mocking me and my friends, and calling us clout-chasing liars, laughing in our faces. And I had to go to almost 2 years of therapy due to the hundreds, thousands of hate, death threats that I got in my inbox for years about lying about grape accusations. And that's something I don't fucking play with. That's why the second my friends called me after they locked themselves in the bathroom, hysterically bawling their eyes out, hiding from her ex-husband, his dad, and their bodyguard, I knew from that moment I was going to tell their story on my platform because I had the voice to do it, and they didn't. And I almost forgot, for those of you thinking that this is just like word to mouth, the accusations, it's not. I'm so tired of seeing these viral clips titled, Catherine admits to the Miami orgy. It was not an orgy. There was no consent anywhere near that boat.
Again, she confirms the mistress was at the basketball event. Says that what ruined the relationship had nothing really to do with each other's character or anything like that, but that the just constant infidelity. Dispels Austin's Snap story in the same way that when she responded on Snapchat, so she said the mermaid thing was because she had a friend who had like mermaid tails, and she was doing a photo shoot for when she briefly had a skincare brand, which was also a scam in Minecraft, but that wasn't the both of them, so I didn't include it. And talks about how she's always had a connection with Jesus and the Mother Mary, and has discussed this openly with Austin many times, and doesn't understand what the confusion is, and that she does not think she is any of these figures. Talks about the ayahuasca was never done in front of children, and is something that he doesn't understand and tends to spiral about quite often. And just discusses how ayahuasca was a big deal for her. It's giving guy who does mushrooms has ego death. And this is like the Call Her Daddy podcast annoys me with this, because it's like the most hand-holding babying of anybody ever. Like, she never really asks tough questions at all, because how do you have a conversation with somebody who has allegations of helping her husband cover up an assault that she talks about in your video? Somebody who has been sitting next to the one talking or the one running, things that have demonstrably made people pay money for services they do not receive over and over and over again, and just sit there and do nothing. To sum up the last of this whole saga, Austin responds he responds to this again with just a short video, like a minute-long video. I believe it was a Snap story again. If not, it was Instagram. And he just says that he almost dropped an atomic bomb, and shows a clip on his phone from Snapchat of him dramatically walking up to a chair with like a microphone like this. And then he changed his mind because it could affect his kids and doesn't want to cause problems with them. And that he has taken accountability for what has gotten them to this point.
At giving you guys exactly what you wanted. I was getting ready to drop an atomic bomb. You know my little ass ran to Snapchat. I even went as far as getting dressed up and even buying the pink chair. But I realized that there is nothing in this world. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. There is nothing in this world that is worth something affecting my kids. And you guys know me better than anybody. When it comes to my kids, I'm gonna pick them first every time. And so I realized in order for this shit to stop, the best thing for me to do is not respond. Because you guys see what's going on. It would just continue, and it would affect my kids. And my kids don't deserve it. Elle called me this morning before school, and she asked me to come over to her mom's house so we can open up all of her birthday gifts together as a family. And obviously, I was unable to do that. That shit broke my heart. And Elle doesn't deserve it.
Now, I want taking accountability as a term to be taken out of like the common person lexicon, because this is like it. None of y'all, like, it's so weird because like saying the word accountability isn't doing it, girl. Same thing as me saying I've done my taxes isn't me doing my taxes. You know what I mean? Or me saying I could say I'm LeBron James as many times as I want and I'm still going to be 5'4". You know what I mean? Very, very, very stupid, and just pisses me off. But now what this has done is brought to the subconscious a circulation of a bunch of videos of the cheating allegations, a bunch of videos of the Ace family as their transgressions, talks about how they're both kind of like bad people, and just kind of awaiting Catherine's book to come out. Which, by the way, let me know if y'all want me to read and review Dolores Coming Home or something like that, Catherine's book. And I will gladly do so, because Dolores, My Journey Home. But yeah, let me know, because I do have reading book fancy paper, so I could go over that if you would like. To conclude this video, we can summarize real quick. So we talked about the rise of the Ace family, the controversy that was surrounding them to begin with, people looking into them because they were a family channel, along with talking about the Ace family app, the Ace Club, the charity basketball event, the Silly Juice, the Cole Kerrigan allegations, the way that they would respond to drama. We talked about the rhetoric of othering and the concept of like this sort of separation as a utilization of like manipulating an audience. Link sources, all that kind of stuff, all down below to support the channel. Again, love my members and patrons. Let me know if you want me to review Oh No It's Devo. Some of you did. I will hopefully do that video soon. Email down below to suggest content or anything. And I hope y'all have an amazing day, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.
Moonbeam rising, keeping up a muse streak. Watch the Minecraft movie, cause it feels so edgeable. Raise the pool, baby.